Hey guys, it's your figure skating big sis Rachel. A lot of you guys are asking, do you need to be flexible to be a figure skater? Well, if you want to do this, whee, or this, or also possibly this, especially this, then you probably will. Need to be flexible. Okay, but like, when should you stretch? Well, there's two types of stretching. There is dynamic, which is like fast moving. But then there's static. You do dynamic before you get on the ice, like off ice, and then static is more like this. Just, simple stuff like this. You do this after you finish skating. Okay? This is so embarrassing, guys. Please give me credit for this intro. And make sure you're warm because you might pull a muscle. So, how much should you stretch and how often? Well, you should try to stretch at least once a day. That's my goal. Even on the weekends, guys. Especially on the weekends, because that's when you actually get flexible. Try to measure your stretching through breaths. Make sure you're breathing out. Whenever you breathe out, you should be able to go lower. Instead of being like this, you gotta flatten your back and go like this. Okay? Because then you're doing it right. For those important stretches like your Y spiral or your spiral, you want to hold them for about 1 minute because it's scientifically proven if you hold it for 1 minute, then it will get better. I'll be making a follow along routine that has no music that you can just follow along with me so you can stretch with me every day. I'll put it in the iCard. I'll also link my rolling routine down below as well. But let's get on to stretching. So first I always start with a triangle stretch. As you can see, I kind of look like a triangle. This one has a bit of movement since it's the first stretch. So first, I flex my foot, bend my back knee, and do this about 5 times. 2, 3, make sure you're breathing. 4, 5, and then I just hold for a bit. Most of these stretches I hold from 15 to 30 seconds. And then I just go like this and I move on to the left side. We're gonna do the same thing, hold for a bit. You can kind of like bounce in your stretches, really flatten the back. And then same thing, flex this foot, bend the back knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, oof, and it warms up this knee too. 5, and then I hold it for a bit longer. You can kind of test out if you'll feel like twisting this way or this way when you're doing these stretches, just to get that really nice and deep hamstring stretch here. Ooh. And now we move on just to a nice deep lunge. When you're doing lunges, rather than being here, you want to feel like you're pushing your hips forward like this. If you want a really deep stretch, your knee can go past your foot. But I'm more focused on standing up straight and pushing your hip forward. You should feel a stretch here and here as well. This is the part of the split that I have a hard time with. That's why I'm like sitting straight up rather than going more like down here. You can also get a nice deep stretch if you just go like this here. And then next, back to a hamstring stretch. You're gonna flex this foot. Make sure this is straight here. You're gonna just flatten down to your leg. This one's a really good hamstring stretch for right here. It's one of my favorites, especially if you're flexing this foot. You really get a nice deep stretch, and then you come back, and this time we're gonna grab our leg with our opposite hand. And instead of being up like this, you want to push your hips down. But this is really stretching out like right here, your quad. Nice deep stretch in your quad. The more you pull your foot back, the deeper the stretch is. Then we switch to the other side. Make sure you're pushing this hip really far forward and down to the ground. And if this also gives you a deep stretch, you can go down here like this. But personally, that's not where I need the most stretching. I really need this stretch right here. And then bend that back leg. Make sure this is straight. Flex your foot if you want a little extra stretch. And then tummy down to your leg. Really focusing on your breathing. We're gonna go back to the lunge. Grab this leg with your opposite hand. Make sure you're pushing your hips down. If you're up like this, just practice pushing your hips down rather than bringing your leg in more. Get a nice, really deep quad stretch. Now we're moving on to some skating spiral exercises. These ones are great because you don't have gravity like battling you because you're just gonna lay on our backs. So we're gonna just lay flat on our back here. And first, all you're gonna do is just pull your knee up to your body. I personally don't feel a stretch here anymore, but you should really feel a stretch right here. Just to the other side, we're We're gonna pull towards our body. You should feel a stretch here and your hammies. And then now we're gonna move to a hip stretch. You should be stretching this hip. Put your feet in a little 4 formation, and then you're gonna grab your leg in between your little 4 and then pull close to your body just like this. The closer you bring your leg to your body, the more of a stretch you're gonna get like right here. And continue to breathe. This one's my favorite stretch because it's nice and relaxing. So I like to just kind of sit here as long as I feel. And then we're gonna switch to the other side. So foot on your knee, put your hands in between this hole here, and then pull towards your body. Making sure you're breathing, enjoying the fact that I'm just laying on my back chilling. Because now we're getting on to the harder ones. This one is a very good hamstring stretch. You're gonna pick a leg, you're gonna put it right above you. If you need to modify this, you might need a band so you can grab your foot. But if you can grab your foot either here or here, you're just gonna pull it straight back towards your head. You don't want it to the side. That's the next stretch we're doing. Ooh, and this one you should feel right here. Because I have very tight hammies, I am not very good at this. But it's just so much easier than holding it if I'm standing up. Hold that for about 30 seconds, pull. You can kind of pull, bounce your foot a little bit. Make sure you're breathing. This is about as far as I can get mine. Not that far. And then we're gonna switch to our other side. Either grab your toe, pull it back, your ankle. The higher you can get your arms up, the more you can pull it down. This is my better side. Make sure we're keeping our back as flat as we can on the ground and just pulling our legs straight back behind our head. I'm pretty good at this one. Okay, now if you're flexible enough, if you're not, you can just skip this one. This is what you do in an eye spin. You're gonna grab the side of your foot where your pinky toe is like this, and then you are gonna pull it straight up and to the side of you. It should be right next to your head basically. And same thing for the other side. You're gonna bring your foot up, grab the side of your foot where your pinky toe is with your opposite hand, and then you're just gonna bend it up and straight down towards the ground, right next to you. Your leg should be basically next to your face, and then pull it in towards you. And then last stretch we're doing on the ground is our Y spiral. So it's just kind of how it looks like. You can put your leg right here, grab the outside of your heel with the same arm, and then you're just gonna pull it straight up. Or you can grab your toe if you can't grab underneath your ankle, or you can grab like this. This one I normally need help from a band because this one's a little bit harder to hold unassisted, but that's kind of the point of this one because it's much easier to do this on the ground than standing up because gravity. And then repeat on the other side. So you're gonna grab your heel, make sure your leg is straight. You're gonna pull up. We don't want our hip to come up like this. We want it to stay on the ground. And we look like a Y. Unfortunately, we're done with the ground stretches, but now we're gonna do our splits. If you guys are working on any flying spins, you're gonna feel this one. It's one of the muscles that you use when you do flying spins, like butterflies and camel spins. And so it's really important to stretch it out. This is one of my favorite stretches to do it. You're just gonna bend this knee, open your foot up, flex this foot. You should feel it right here. And also on this leg as well. And then you can just bend the other leg and switch to the other side. Try to get this foot flat if you can. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. It just like stretches out right here without like putting too much pressure on my legs, especially when I try to do middle splits, which I don't do that often because I swear I always pull my groin when I do it. So don't stretch too hard, guys. This one's kind of similar to our lunge, but it's just a little different because we're gonna turn our knee towards this way instead of forward. And we're just gonna push forward like this. Should get a really good groin stretch. You want to keep this foot as perpendicular as you can. This is honestly my least favorite stretch because I have really tight hips, but it helps. And then we're gonna switch to the other side. So this foot forward, turn this to the side here, and then you're just gonna push your hips down. See how like I'm not good at this one, but I'm really good at the other one? That's how you know my hips are really tight. Oh my goodness, my hips are so tight. I want to be able to do a cantilever one day, guys. I don't know how far in the future that will be, but probably really far in the future. Last one's kind of nice because I can just sit on my phone and do this. This is called a frog stretch. So you just go like this, and you just lay here. And if this is too easy for you, you can actually just go like this with your legs instead. Have your legs straight out instead of kind of in like when you do a butterfly. And you just press down like that. That is harder. And I can't do that one that well. And now we've kind of prepped our hips a little bit. Let's do the middle splits. This is about as far as I can go. Not very far. And I also don't want to pull anything. But we're just gonna do a side stretch. This one's gonna stretch out this side of you. Going like this. If you can, grab your toe, put this arm this way. You should feel a nice stretch here. And also in your leg. If you can put your head on your leg. You're really flexible. Then up. You're gonna go the other way. Nice stretch on the side. Whew. And then instead of doing the side, we're gonna go just straight down. So both arms reaching for your foot. Keeping your legs straight as you can. Instead of rounding your back like this, you want to arch and go down. So get a nice deep stretch here. Other side. Both hands reaching for the foot, arching the back. Instead of rounding it here. Tummy first, then head. And then a good classic is just reaching forward. If you have a friend with you, you can do it with your friend. Just reaching forward as far as you can, really stretching out this part of your legs right here. And then we have to hold the middle splits for a minute. Guys, I got an Apple Watch, so I can do it on my Apple Watch now. This one, I still can't hold for a minute yet, but if you can, hold it for a minute. The reason why we hold these positions for a minute is because it's literally scientifically proven to improve your flexibility. But specifically for this one, I have to hold myself up here, and it's really hard. And I also don't want to pull anything. But since I'm not doing a test I need to be 100% for, I will be working on this, and I will get my middle splits one day. Mark my words. But we can finally move on to my favorite splits, which are just the left and right splits. I always like to start out with pigeon pose. If you can't have your leg out like this, if your hip's going like this, you need to bring your leg in and make sure this hip is pressing down to the ground. But to make it a little harder, you can just bring your foot out like this. Make sure this hip is not up and we're pressing it down here. And then we're gonna kind of do the opposite of this, like a half split. We're gonna have this leg straight, but we're gonna bend this leg back. So you wanna make sure your hips stay forward, but you're gonna put this foot back like we're doing a split. So this one I'm not great at yet. This is my weaker side. So it's hard for me to keep my hips forward unless I'm up here like this. Just put your leg out to the side here and just face forwards. I also like going down like this because it gives a deeper stretch here. And this foot is just bent straight back. It's not out here like this. It's just bent straight back. And then we have to move on to our lovely split. This one I can hold for 1 minute. Look how close I am to this side. Like I'm literally so close, y'all. I've been doing this almost every day, so I promise guys it works as long as you do stretches with it. But if you have a hard time with this, you can use a pillow. So if you're like really close to being down but not all the way down, you can just put a pillow right here and you can sit here. Honestly, this is good for this side because I'm literally so close but I'm not all the way down. And then we're gonna repeat the same thing for the other side. Again, making sure that this hip is on the ground. We're pushing, and we're feeling it here, and also on the other side. And I can show you a better representation of the half split here. So this front leg straight, and then we're gonna bend this back leg like this. So it looks a little bit more like a split, except this leg is close to your body. And you wanna keep your hips down. This is the hard part, keeping your hips down and pretending you're basically doing a split. And then onto my splits. Look at these ones, guys. I'm so proud of myself. My splits have never been this consistent ever, but I can like consistently do this split like every time I go to stretch. So hard work pays off, guys. And I always hold this one for a minute as well, even though I can already do it, because I'd like to feel more comfortable. Like I can do it, but this is like not comfy. It's a bit uncomfortable, so really working on just holding it for a minute. Alright, and that's it for leg stretches. So believe it or not, before we do beillmann stretches, you need to stretch out your shoulders. You probably knew that, I just didn't when I first started, so I was like, why is this so difficult? Because I can lift my leg up. It's because of my arms and my shoulders, specifically here. This first one, you're gonna put your hand like this and just grab your shoulder. You're just gonna pull it back to the side as much as you can. You should feel a nice stretch right here. And then you're gonna do the same on the other side. Just grab your elbow, pull it behind your head, and try to pull it far down as you can. Another way you can do this is just going like this. If you can grab your hands, just pull down in a little like locked position here. Just like this if you can. If not, just do the modifier. This one's a classic, just here. You should be feeling it right here. This is more your arm though, but while I'm here, I always do it. Same on the other side. Just pull right here. You should feel a nice stretch right here. The other one I like doing against a wall. So you just put your arm on the wall, and then I'm gonna twist towards this way. Since my right arm's on the wall, I'm gonna twist towards the left, and it's gonna open up this part of my shoulder. On the other side, obviously. Same thing on the other side. It's really nice. If you forget to do it, you can always just do it on the ice next to the wall. And the last one is directly related to a beillmann. Basically, if you have a wall here, you're gonna put your arms like this, and you're just gonna put it back like this. So if I'm kind of doing here, I can put my arms here, and then I'm just gonna push my body towards the ground. Kind of mimics the same thing you're doing with your beillmann here. But yeah, let's go back to the ground just so we can do some back stretches to get ready for our beillmann. I don't have the best back flexibility, but I'm working on it. This first one is just a nice warm-up. It's called cat and cow. So you're just gonna arch your back, head back, and then round your back as much as you can. Just a nice little warm-up before we get into the like really intense back stretches that we have. And once you've done that about 5 times, we're gonna move on to the butt pose. So you're gonna just lay flat, just grab your ankles, and you're gonna pull straight up. Hold this as long as you can. I look like a boat. This one you can really feel here, and also should help stretch out your shoulders as well. You're just gonna do this like 2 to 3 times, not too many times. Feel like you're constantly pulling up. Ugh. Ugh. If you're more advanced than me, you can actually grab it how you would grab like a beillmann, like this. But I can't do that with both arms for some reason. Like, I don't know why I physically can't. Like, if I try, I don't know, my shoulders just won't do it. Then we move on to the cobra stretch. Cobra, you're just gonna, here. Oh, hi Lily. Hi. Mwah. Just wanna get your hands as close as you can to your body, and then just arch your back. Instead of going like this, you wanna keep your hips down, and then you're just gonna go child's pose to give your back a little rest. You can even try to touch your feet to your head, which I can do. It could give you a Charlie horse in your calf though, which is what just happened. This one's kind of related to the pigeon pose. And you're gonna grab your back leg like this. We can grab our foot kind of like how I would grab a beillmann here. And then arch your back. So go like this. I personally can't do it with my leg out, so I put my leg in. Oh, that's a very intense back stretch, so don't do it if you're a beginner. I'm just gonna do the same thing the other way. So foot in, grab our back foot, just like this. This one I'm better at, because I can talk while I'm doing it. And then of course we have to do a bridge. I really don't like bridges. I think I have some sort of like head thing, because whenever I do bridges I get really dizzy. But I'm just trying to do it one step at a time and just do it very slowly. So we're gonna have our knees up, hands like this, make sure they're flat, and you're gonna push your hips and arms up. You just hold as long as you can. Feel like you're pushing your belly button to the ceiling. Ooh. Oh my goodness. I'd recommend doing that a few times, but I don't like doing it too much because I get really dizzy. I don't know if that's a problem, but that's what happens. So now we move on to our standing stretches. I had to zoom out a little bit. You can kind of see my bed, all my stuff, all my ribbons. I have too many ribbons. You either need a friend or a resistance band for these ones. So we're just gonna start off with our normal spiral. If you don't know how to do a spiral, you're going to hinge at the hips, keep our back nice and arched, and we're gonna lock both of our legs. This is where you might need a friend for help. They can help push your leg up, but make sure this knee is locked and your toe is turned out to the side, not down like this. So you wanna turn it out, look forward. Then we're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. So both legs straight, turn your toe out, arch the back, look where you're going, which is hopefully forward on the ice. And if you're already pretty high like me, but you can't get it much higher, you can actually put your hand over your knee. Try to stretch it up as high as you can and straighten it. Very close. Next one is your Y spiral, so make sure you have something to hold on to. And you can either grab it like this with your hand on the arch of your foot here, or you can just grab it by the toe. I like grabbing it here. And you're just gonna pull up like this. If you can't hold it, either ask for help or grab a band, kind of like this, and then you can hold it from here, like that. But the more flexible you are, the higher you can just lift it up on your own. Make sure you're pointing your toe, and make sure you're not like this when you're doing it. You want to make sure your hips are right underneath. Hold that for 5, hold that as long as you can, and then we have to hold it unassisted for 5 seconds. So you're gonna let go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm working on that one too. That way we can get those beautiful like unassisted like leg lifts like the ballerinas do. I don't know how they do that. But if you think it's hard here, it's way harder on the ice, so that's why we're practicing it off ice. You can also do all these standing stretches with your skates on, like right after you finish skating for some stretching practice. But make sure you're holding onto something, grab the heel or your toe and lift up. Hold and pull back as much as you can. Oh, this is my bad side, and we're gonna hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y'all see my legs shaking. Now we're gonna move on just to our forward leg lift. I'm gonna hold onto the wall here, and opposite arm, opposite leg, we're just gonna lift the foot forward. This one is harder for me, so sometimes I use a band. Close as you can to your face, just straight up. And then also let go and hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, girl. Just gonna grab the wall with this hand, grab from here, on your leg or your toe, whatever works best for you. This one is not my good side, this one's a little harder, but pull back. Don't lean back too much, but try to pull it up with your arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sweating, those are brutal, guys. It doesn't look that hard, but it is so hard. You know those dancers that just kind of go like, ooh, couldn't be me. We got 2 more. This is our eye spiral. So basically when you do these, you just need to lean up against something so you're balanced, because you have to use both arms for this. You're gonna grab your foot, the outside. You can use this arm to assist and grab your calf and pull up like this. As high as you can and hold it as long as you can. This is my favorite spin, my eye spin. Not that I'd ever want to do it forward, but I do, just for consistency, try to do the eye spiral on the other side. It's very hard to do on this side, but you know, I'm kind of there, you know? Just, if it's hard for you to do standing, just work on it on the ground more. Just practice, practice, practice. Last one we have is our beillmann. If you're a beginner, just start with a Chinese spiral. With the same hand, you're gonna grab the inside of your foot, and you're just gonna pull straight up. You don't want to pull out this way. You want to feel like your arm that you're holding the liquid is just pulling straight up into the air. Same thing with the other side, same arm, same leg. You're gonna grab the outside of your foot and you're just gonna pull straight up. Make sure this arm, the arm that's pulling the leg up, is straight, not bent like this. You want to just feel like you're having a constant pulling up motion with your body and your arm. So you don't want to be all the way down here, but you want to feel like you're constantly pulling up. And lastly, we move on, the final boss, the beillmann. This is my current goal, to be able to do a beillmann spin. So you're gonna want to make sure you're next to something so you can kind of lean on it, grab your foot. You want to turn your hand around so you can grab your foot like this. I need help, so I grab it with my other hand first. And then I turn the foot around, pull it over my head, feel like I'm lifting it up. Ugh. Ugh. That one's so hard for me. This one would also be great if you have assistance. Make sure you are leaning on whatever you're leaning on so you don't lose your balance. Then you're gonna grab. I know the way I grab this is funny, but my shoulders are not very flexible, guys. Pull up. If you can't grab it with 2 hands, just do it how I am right here. I know this is a lot of stretches, you don't have to add them all in at one time, but kind of switch and do more back stretches one day, more leg stretches one day. I hope this little stretching routine helped you guys, and I'll see you guys next practice. Bye!